50 Shades of Grey is already breaking box office records.
To what do you owe your success?
I exercise control in all things, Miss Steele.
It must be really boring.
In just 3 days, that movie made almost $250 million in 36,000 locations nationwide. One of those locations, Jackson. In a 16 WAPT special report, Tammy Eswick found out the movie has a lot of Mississippians talking about sex.
A recent Gallup poll calls Mississippi the most conservative state in the country. But this month, a new movie is shaking that perception.
You guys want to see 50 Shades tonight?
Yeah, we are.
Mind if I ask you a couple questions?
To what do you owe your success?
Conservative in my politics, but that's where it ends.
More than 48% of residents identify themselves as politically conservative. But according to Entertainment Weekly, Mississippi fans bought more than 4 times as many pre-sale tickets to 50 Shades than anyone expected.
It's important that you know you can leave at any time.
More passes than any other southern state in the country.
It's too hard to talk about.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Everybody should have that type of relationship.
Southern Belles like to have fun, too.
So how could a state known as being conservative be interested in an erotic movie focused on handcuffs, whips, ties, and duct tape?
Maybe we need to redefine conservatism.
Matt Friedman is a 16 WAPT political analyst and a professor at Wesley Biblical Seminary.
Well, I can't be a fan of abusing women. I can't be a fan of hitting women. I can't be a fan of putting handcuffs on women sexually. It's just not the way a typical Mississippian acts.
But others say Mississippi is the home of racy entertainment. Elvis Presley helped introduce the entire country to sex and rock and roll. Back then, conservative leaders called his gyrating hips way too sexual. But before you knew it, Elvis had become the king of rock and roll. And then there's Bobby Rush.
Got me working overtime every day.
He's the son of a pastor, and he's been singing a lot about sex since the 1940s.
Because during them time, a lot of people talk about that parents was very religious, would talk about their devil music.
He says it's always been a part of the blues.
And so when you singing the devil music and you're a pastor's son, a friend of a sanctified lady or what have you, and that was something bad to do. But my daddy never told me not to do it, so I had a green light.
Rush says he got that green light to mix the two worlds together when he was about 7 years old. That's when his preacher father sat down with him and a guitar.
Well, I wanted to hear it because I knew it was going to be about my mama, you know. He tuned it up, and I'm getting ready to hear Swing Low Sweet Cherry or something like that. He said, me and my gal went to Chinky Pin hunting. She fell down and I saw something. I said, Daddy. Now, Daddy, preacher. I said, sing it again, Daddy. He said, me and my gal went to Chinky Pin hunting. She fell down and I saw something. My mother was in the kitchen cooking. My mother said, me don't sing that kind of song to that boy.
You're here because I'm incapable of leaving you alone.
The things that entertain us are typically things that are the racy things, are the things that are on the edge, or just downright sin.
Pastor Dwayne Pickett of New Jerusalem Church says the movie sets a bad example.
And we buy tickets and we say things like, well, it doesn't bother me, that's not going to bother me, or certain music doesn't bother me. But when you place images and explicit images in the minds of people, typically they're going to act out on some of those.
Pickett and Friedman say the 50 Shades movie could even lead to violence.
Every 9 seconds in the U.S., a woman is assaulted or beaten. And so now we have a movie that deals with 2 people getting together out of wedlock, and one wants to beat another or use handcuffs, hitting, whips as a sexual acts. I hardly think that's very helpful.
This is what Tammy, I think people do. They take this movie as it's just a movie. So, you know, it could get into a lot of discussions to think about what's the impact of the images that we see.
But fans we talk to say it's just entertainment.
I've read all 3 of the books, and I think the people that are talking about it should read the books before they give their opinion. That's my opinion.
The same people that come to see me on Saturday night, those are the same people that church on Sunday morning.
In Jackson, Tammy Eswick, 16 WAPT News.
Well, of course, we want to hear from you on this one. It is the subject of our Instapoll 16. We asked, have you seen or do you plan to see 50 Shades of Grey? You can see an overwhelming number of you say no so far. What do you think? You can call or text 601-980-4416. Enter 1 for yes, 2 for no, or you can vote on the 16 WAPT Facebook page or on Twitter.